Welcome to the Can Innovate podcast, the first ever podcast designed to showcase Canadian thought leadership. These innovators share industry insights, entrepreneurial best practices, lessons learned, and other tips that we can incorporate right into our lives, our careers, and our businesses. So let's get inspired. I am really honored today. I get to sit with Jason Muloongoo, who's here today. And he's got an interesting career, from starting with building aircrafts for Airbus in Hamburg to augmented reality solutions for business. Jason is an aerospace engineer from South Africa with an amazing heart for strengthening relationships through personalized touch. He actually immigrated to Canada in 2015 after he sold his last startup, Acquahire. And this is actually a double amazing episode because Jason actually lives in my building and we were introduced by our building security and concierge. So this episode is actually dedicated to Jason Udall, who is amazing. I know it's confusing. It's two Jasons, but so this episode is dedicated to Jason Udall for introducing me to Jason Muloongoo from TelliGram. So welcome.
Wow, thank you so much, Sapna. It's great to be here, and I really appreciate it.
Oh.
Shout out to Jason.
Yeah, big shout out to Jason. Yeah. So let's get down to it. What exactly is TelliGram?
Oh, fantastic question. Wow, TelliGram is an augmented reality startup that was created about 5-6 months ago. And what we're doing is we're looking at ways of strengthening relationships using augmented reality.
That is so cool. Okay, tell me more. So for example, how did you come up with the name?
Okay, all right. So we looked at different kinds of things and different ways to express things. And we were just saying, well, augmented reality is such a powerful tool in sharing extra information. And when you want to say something extra, well, we just say, just tell it. Just stop holding back and just tell it. So it began by saying, hey man, just tell me what you're thinking, And so we're like, oh, okay, I'm thinking about this. Okay. But then we started saying, okay, how do we mesh that with augmented reality, which is something that needs to be on something physical? And we said, okay, well, that's kind of like recording a message. So tell, onogram, and the I actually in the middle is Morse code for you, because at the center of what we do, it's you.
Oh, I love that. That is so cool. So augmented reality to strengthen relationships. So how does this look like? Like how did this idea really kind of burst at the seams?
Right. So just to tell you a bit more about TelliGram and the products that we have. So when we're looking at this, we're saying that, well, if I speak about AR, in AR, there are about 5 different main categories of things. Okay. AR is used for product visualization. So this means that when a customer wants to see something, like whether it's an art piece or whether it's a home or whether it's a car, instead of having to drive down to the dealership or go through to, I don't know where, Beverly Hills to see the property, AR is great for product visualization. So that's one thing. Then we looked at it in terms of interior mapping to see interiors of houses, of homes, and how they're architected. Then we looked at it for education. Then we looked at it for social, and that's where Snapchat fits in. For example, Snapchat is used for social AR, putting a puppy face on your face. I mean, how cute is that? And then the big one for gamification, and we all know about Pokemon Go. Mm-hmm. So when we look at these 5 categories for AR, we started saying, well, there's such an amazing range of possibilities. So we said, okay, at TelliGram, let's tackle a few. Let's tackle some that businesses are having. And something simple that everybody's doing is, well, when they do marketing in any kind of print media, we say, hey, how about we help you say more in that print media? How about we pack more punch into what you're doing? And we'll make things come alive for you. So that's what we do for businesses, yeah.
I love that. So let's talk a bit more about this. So how would it visually look like? I'm trying to picture in my mind what augmented reality would look like in this type of format. Like you mentioned about houses and they'd look like 3D. So would this be like a printed card, or they would go onto a link and see it? How would that work?
Okay, so great question. Take any surface in which you would find a 2D picture of a house. So that means it's a flyer. That means it's your favorite magazine. That means it could be a poster on the wall. Any of those kind of surfaces, when we add our augmented reality layer, what that means is that you take your phone and now you're looking at that 2D print media through your phone, and all of a sudden it becomes 3D. It explodes, and the house is actually, popping out at you. Or whether if it's something else, whether it's a product, all of a sudden that product is now sitting on your table at your desk. You can change colors around it, and you can see, okay, this is actually what this product will look like in my home, or this is what this car kind of looks like up close, and this is what a tour of this house looks like in detail, and all from right where you're sitting.
That is so cool. So all those people that have to carry all that heavy equipment to do a product demo, this could actually replace that.
Absolutely, Sapna. Absolutely. And that goes into the product visualization category, helping customers overcome that extra cost to acquisition. It's a great idea.
No, I love this. This is amazing. So I can send out a postcard. I could send out something, and it could be almost like a secret coded message that they could actually access to see what it really is bursting in the seams.
Right. And I love that you just said that, because that leads perfectly into the product that we have for consumers. So I talked about what we do for businesses, what TelliGram does for businesses, but what we do for consumers is, well, we needed a way for consumers to be able to connect with each other and strengthen their relationships in a more personalized manner, but also very convenient and easy to use. Everybody shops online. And whenever, there's always one thing that we always do whenever going out and getting gifts for people, we always supplement that with a greeting card. And so the hassle of going to find the right greeting card, going between shoppers, between Hallmark, between here and there, it's a bit of a schlep sometimes. So, so we said, well, how about you can just shop your greeting card online, and then you add an augmented reality layer to that, which would be you, who is the core of the message, and you can just pop up in a beautiful video saying to your family, friend, or loved one, Jason, Sapna, like, you need to come and see this, or you need to come see me, or happy birthday, happy bridal shower, oh my gosh, congratulations, I wish you all the best, and send your personalized greetings through video. And so that's our greeting card solution, which we've seen quite a good uptake of that in the market.
I can imagine, because even for businesses too, if they want to make something a bit more personalized to their clients, to touch base with them, to invite them to an event, like that is a really cool way to showcase innovation, that you're a forward-thinking company beyond belief. Like that is really fun.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sapna. Yeah.
Oh, I love this. I love this. Okay, so how did this, you came up with this amazing idea. How did you kind of manage to get it off the ground? Because this must have been hard to kind of, for people to understand what it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah, very good question. One thing that you find is that because this market is it's been around for a while, but because it hasn't yet been honed and there hasn't been any really big strides in it, that means there are lots of things in the air, and there are lots of things to kind of try. And so what we did to get this off the ground is we went out and did customer discoveries. We went out and talked to people in Starbucks. We talked to people in the streets. We asked them questions. We found out their pain points. We did the typical startup thing, like, what is it? What problems are you having, and how can we solve them? And we thought about that in the framework of AR. And after doing that several times, I remember it was I got a call from my business partner, Adam, and I was looking at a product, okay? And this product, I was just like thinking, okay, it's a cool product, but it's not speaking to me. And then Adam happened to phone me on Skype, and it was a video call. And that video image, it happened to be superimposed on top of the product in the right place. And it just happened at the right time. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is brilliant. This is exactly what AR needs to do. And so we started taking that out to people and showing them, hey, this is what AR can do for you. And people started getting involved and saying, hey, Jason, like, how can I help you? Hey, Jason, I actually know someone who would love to talk to you about this, and that kind of collaboration helped get us off the ground.
Oh, but I love the story, but it was by accident that, you saw the Skype video at the same time on top of the product, and then you're like, wow, that just kind of jumped out. I love that. For our listeners out there, I think there's a lot of confusion about augmented reality and virtual reality. Would you be able to kind of explain a little bit about the difference of the two so they don't think they need kind of the 3D goggles?
Great one. So, with virtual reality is the one that people are more familiar with, where that is a full immersive experience in which you no longer see any part of the real world. And so you put on the goggles or glasses or whatever, you put on these big headsets, and basically when you look around, you don't see anything from the real world anymore. And versus augmented reality, whereby you use either sometimes glasses, but not so often because, well, those aren't yet released. Apple is dropping some soon, but I won't talk too much about that. And then you use your mobile device and, while looking through your viewfinder or your lens from your camera, whenever you pan it through the real world, augmented reality digital layers are superimposed on what you're seeing in the real world. So you're still within your frame of reference and you're still orientated within your real world. And so one of the things that we really like about AR that makes it kind of bigger than VR is that you're not confined to being in one place, one time, and your safety hazards are less. I'm not saying they're eliminated, they're less than what they are in VR if you were to try and do a VR immersive experience whereby you want to walk around and see different things. It's a challenge.
No, but I love that because it's about you're actually in your own reality, being able to enjoy it.
That's great. Like, I love that line.
And that means that you can actually be able to send these telegrams out to anywhere globally, right? Because there's no geographical type of limitation.
Absolutely. And that's one of the fantastic things. And so we're seeing also, because we love working with different clients and different businesses, we're seeing that one of the things that we do struggle with, and that comes out not just in Toronto, but other places, is connecting with people and breaking into new kind of circles when you're looking to get your product out there. So we said, hey, why not introduce augmented reality business cards? And that's something that's really cool that you'll be seeing very soon and shortly. And augmented reality business cards, you get one with us. You put on a digital layer on top of that has your unique value proposition, that has your product on it, that has anything you want on it. And when you get a card with us, we add you to our network that we share you as part of the AR business club that we have around the world.
Nice. And you know what? Good timing, because I actually need new business cards. So I will be signing up for sure.
Perfect. That'll be fantastic.
Well, I got a Can Innovate podcast about innovation, so my business cards need to look a little funky, no?
Yeah, exactly. When someone scans it, all of a sudden you start hearing you speaking. That'll be amazing.
That'd be also embarrassing too. But yes, I love that. I love it. This is fantastic. Okay, so I am sold, and I'm sure a lot of other listeners are kind of sold about this. So where would they go if they wanted to be your customer? Is it the website or?
Great question. So we're operating off a website, which is telligram.ca, telligram.ca. And we have an app in the App Store, both for Android and iOS, where you can go download that. And it's a very simple app, which is already in AR mode as soon as you open it, which is ready to like scan and see 3D experiences. But you just need to pick out the drawer menu, and you can just select one of our products that you're interested in. And then if you'd like to contact us for any business sort of AR things that you'd like to do on a larger scale, we're more than happy to chat.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to put all these links in the show notes so everyone has it at their fingertips and then they can be able to rock and roll like I'm going to right after this podcast. So tell me, Jason, what excites you most about this industry?
Oh, wow. So it's 2018 and we love having choice.
Yeah.
We love being spoiled with options. And that's something that I really like about AR. Coming from a background in aerospace, whereby there were millions of different components that went into assembling aircraft and so on. I look at AR and there are millions of different things that you could do with AR to make your reality so enjoyable. And for me, it just says the sky is the limit. And that's what I love.
I like that. The sky's the limit, especially when you come from aerospace. It works out perfectly. So, Jason, I was really fascinated to find out that you've been in the startup scene for so many years. I mean, both in South Africa and here in Canada. There must be tons of kind of aha moments or lessons that you've learned, being in the startup scene for so long, or something that you wish people had actually told you. Is there something you could share with us?
Yeah, sure. I think discovering that failing forward is actually not painful. And what I mean by that is when you go out and you talk to people, like, don't be afraid to share with them what you're doing, to ask them to collaborate with you, to talk about ideas. And, some people may not like it, but that's okay. And that's something that I really wish was more emphasized. I know people always say, fail forward, but I think we need to understand it for ourselves, what that means. And that means don't be afraid to get out there, to talk to people who know more than you do or who don't know more than you do, or at least what you think, and just really share. Like when we're talking to people at Starbucks, we're learning so much from them. When we're talking to people in, like, for example, like how you met Jason Odell, right? That was you just getting out there and chatting, and look what happened. Great things happen, great collisions happen by getting out there.
I love that. I love that. Failing forward and getting out there and talking to people. It's so true. I don't know why we always become so shy in talking about what we're up to, because you never know where those 5 seconds of a conversation could possibly lead you. And as you said earlier, we are the generation that loves lots being spoiled with options. So this is great. I love that. So in this journey, was there any kind of tools or resources that you were able to leverage?
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely the biggest and best one for me has been the Ryerson Digital Media Zone. So the Ryerson DMZ. They are a university-based incubator, and as of recently, they've been voted the number 1 in the world. And they've just got a great space in which they encourage collaboration, in which they have mentors there, in which they have tours of different clients in different industries who just come through there. And so getting to leverage that was really big. I got to learn also about some of the other partners that work with government in helping you get government grants, for example, because there are a lot of great government grants out there that are available for startups. But, the paperwork is something that often overwhelms us. So why not team up with a partner that will help you fill out that paperwork? They will take a commission, but at the end of the day, we know that we do need startup capital, and it's out there. Like, the Ontario government really does support us. So let's get out there. Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And are you able to share with us maybe a small or big sales or marketing tip? Because it's really hard to kind of, you get out there, but then how do you kind of get that pipeline?
So especially in the context of our industry with AR, because there's so many different applications, we really had to know our story and then know and be flexible with tailoring it to whatever audience we're speaking to, so that we know that the keywords that we're saying are resonating with them, so that the feedback that we're getting resonates with us. And so for me, like, that was something that was key that I learned, to know how to tailor my story to whichever audience I'm speaking to at that time, whether it's someone in the Starbucks or whether it's a CEO of a company. And definitely, like we're saying, when it comes to sales, to build that pipeline, I really enjoyed going to networking events. There are a lot of great networking events in Toronto. Use those.
Mm, that's great. And you know what? That whole thing about tailoring the story is so key. Like, I can't even, I, just like everybody else, we must get so many emails that are so, like, spam related in the sense of they're so generic. They have done no research on the business, no research on anything I'm doing. And
Right.
they're just kind of, doing it as mass volume versus actually being tailored and personalized and bespoke to understanding what the possible need and fit could be. That
Right.
is great.
So I always say that, agility is what really, really helps in this age of information, because there's so much information overload. But it's actually not, what is even better for you to have is not just say, oh, information overload. Why don't you look at having an information filter, a better information filter? So know how to be agile in this age of attention economy.
Love that. So, Jason, I absolutely think this is phenomenal. So, do you have any good key or business philosophies or favorite quote that helps you kind of stay focused?
Yeah. So one of my favorite, most simple ones comes from Brad Feld. So from from TechStars. He just said to me when he heard what I was doing, he's just like upwards and onwards. And he was giving me one of his books as well, and he wrote that in the front cover of the book. And I always just think about it and like, yeah, it's just what am I tracking towards and how am I pushing myself to get there?
Oh, I love that. Upwards and onwards. Such
Yeah.
key words. So, is there a popular productivity tool that you use to stay, on track of everything else?
So no, not really a popular one, but I definitely do take a lot of my tips from Asana. I like actually following them on Twitter. They give some really good productivity tips. But yeah, for me, I generally tend to switch between a number of tools.
Yeah, I'm the same way because I'm still trying to figure out which one works the best. But I like the idea of Asana. I'm going to check them out for sure.
Yeah.
And is there like a business book or just any kind of book, fiction or nonfiction, that really kind of resonated with you or something that you recommend others to read?
Yeah. So I'll probably mention two. So one, when it comes to like needing to kind of inspire your innovative thoughts and your innovative thinking, I really love The Design of Business. That's written actually by one of the, I think, head honchos at University of Toronto Business School at Rotman. So Design of Business, I really, really like that for inspiring that innovative thinking. And then Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss to really get you going and getting you out there. He really talks about like tactics and different routines and habits that successful people have had. And, being able to tap into that, I think that's phenomenal.
Love that. And is there a company or a CEO that you watch or follow closely?
So actually, no. I guess if you're talking about well-known CEO and so on, no. I tend to find that it's easy to kind of emulate someone who's about, this is the statistic, 20% more successful than you. And so like as I'm going through my journey, I keep having to change who I'm following and adapting to. The reason being is that when someone is 10 times more successful than you, it's kind of like, how am I going to get there? Like, oh, but this guy has this and, she has that. And, but when you look at someone who's just 20% ahead of you, you're like, okay, I can do that. And you track towards that. And then when you're there, you're like, okay, look at somebody else who's 20% more and you track towards that. So that's what I do.
That's great. That's wise words. That's really awesome. I love that. So do you also have a personal habit that helps you stay kind of productive and balanced?
Definitely, I realize the power of early mornings. For me, getting the early morning routine going and like making sure that I set out what I want to accomplish for the day, that really helps. And then at the end of the day, you track that and you just quickly have a look and be like, oh, okay, I missed out on that. Why? Okay. And then, yeah, they're really good.
I love that. So being like came from South Africa to Canada, is you found any kind of fun kind of Canadian hotspot or vice or restaurant that you gravitate towards?
Well, coming from South Africa to Canada, like I feel like the whole of Toronto is exciting. uh, it's definitely not as beautiful as South Africa. I think you know that.
Yeah, that's so true. You got Cape Town, man. You got
Oh,
Cape Town.
oh man. And yeah, so over here in Toronto, I think there are probably two that I really enjoy. I really like, because I'm vegetarian, I really like Bloomers. So Bloomers, it's on Bloor Street. Very nice vegetarian, vegan restaurant. One of their burgers really, really good. I highly recommend it. And then the other one is Humber Shore, Humber Bay, like Etobicoke, right by the water. There's a very small family-run Japanese restaurant, Crazy Roll. And their sushi that they have there, it's crazy. It is crazy. Crazy good. So yeah, those are the two that I kind of like trend towards and I like.
Love it. And finally, Jason, how can our listeners connect with you?
Wow. I would love you guys to connect with me over LinkedIn. Like I'm easily found over LinkedIn. For TelliGram, it's definitely our social media channel because we're growing that quite rapidly and we let people know about really cool stuff we have. So that's at TelliGram Co. So LinkedIn at TelliGram Co. And then sure, like if you'd definitely like to connect with me specifically, you can shoot us an email on the company at JM. So that's for me, JM at telligram.ca.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you get to enjoy some of the wonderful Toronto weather. So for our listeners out there, I know another episode I was complaining about the snow, but the good news is spring has arrived and it's already getting into the double digits. So I am ready to get out there.
That sounds fantastic. Me too.
Thanks so much, Jason. That was wonderful.
Thank you, Sapna. I really appreciate it.
Thanks again for joining us this week. It's been a blast as usual. Next week, we've got a really interesting guest. Here's a quick sneak peek.
Listen, I think, there are business fundamentals that I think always are true, which is, you got to focus on solving a problem that people understand and that people prioritize as a problem worth solving. You need to stay away from nice-to-have solutions and really focus on must-have solutions. Now, sometimes must-have solutions are driven by technology breakthroughs. Sometimes they're driven by, regulatory environments that are changing or new market segments that are opening up. And so I think, when we look at companies, the question that I always ask is, why this idea? Why now for this idea to take off, and why are you the right team or the right group to make this happen? So why this, why you, why now?
Thanks, everyone, for joining in and tuning in this week. Next week, we've got another really cool episode. I hope you enjoyed the sneak peek. I'm going to try to do this and see how this works. If you guys are interested, like the little sneak teasers, let me know. I'd love to hear back from all of you. And don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a review. And let me know if you know of another Canadian innovator that's doing something really cool around the world. Let's get them showcased. Or if there's an innovation trend that you would like to specifically focus on. Anyways, looking forward to hearing from all of you and talk to you next week. Cheers.